Everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am starting a quick three-part series on my favorite tools and techniques, maybe? I don't know the right word to say that. My favorite tools for Weight Watchers and anytime I'm managing any type of healthy eating program. And I have 10. They're in no particular order. And I'm going to do 3 in a series of 3, so 3 tools in each one. And then I'm going to do the 4th one to do number 10 a little bit differently. It's something a little bit different. It's a tool definitely, but it's not along the same lines of some of the other things I'm going to show in the other 3 videos. So for today's video, I have 3 items I'm going to show, and I'm going to start with the scale. I think owning a food scale is one of the most important things that you can do. But I don't want people to get stuck in the caveat of measuring everything exactly and picking out nuts and raisins so that you have 10 grams instead of 11 grams. This is not about being just crazy obsessed with exact amounts. This is about making sure you understand your portion sizes. So I have a scale here. I've had it for some time. I think I got it off Amazon. I'll link it down below. It is the Eat Smart Precision Elite Scale. It's not a sponsored video. I'm not paid by them to tout the scale. I don't know that there's anything magical about this scale, but it works. The best thing about a food scale is that you should be able to do grams, ounces, and pounds with it. I sometimes use this as a male scale. What does that tell you? So there's grams. I push the button, I get ounces, and then I can get pounds here. The other thing the scale should do for you is it should tear out, which means you should be able to zero out whatever you currently have on the scale. So for example, this container weighs 0.57 pounds or 259 grams or 9.15 ounces. I typically use grams for a lot of things. But when I'm measuring something, I obviously don't want to measure the bowl along with it. So I can press this button and zero it out, and then it says tear on here. What happens is every time I add an ingredient, I can actually tear again. So I'm going to use this cheese as an example. This is a part skim mozzarella. The serving size is a 1/4 cup or 28 grams. If I need 2, I can measure 56. But what if I had 2 different kinds of cheeses here and I needed a 1/4 cup or 28 grams of each? I can take this cheese and I can put 28 grams in this container, and then I can tear the scale out to 0, and I can get my other cheese and add another 28 grams. One of the reasons I find that a scale is so important is because of the way that measuring items can be. So first of all, I just have a couple of measuring cups here. They're different, obviously. One's from a plastic set. These are both 1/4 cup. One is from a metal set. I have actually never done this before with this, as I struggle to open the cheese. I do not know if these measuring cups are even marginally equal to a 1/4 cup or 28 grams. So I'm going to see how much we have here based on the scale. So here's my first measuring cup, the plastic one. It looks about a 1/4 cup, which according to the package should be 28 grams. Ooh, I lost one. What do we have here? I have 26 grams. Darn, I cheated myself out of 2 extra grams. Now, I always say we don't want to get completely caught up in the whole exact measurements, but I will tell you something. When I measure my foods, I make sure I get every drop from it. So I will even push the scale to the point where I'll measure all the way to 29 and then take out tiny pieces to get to 28, as long as the 29 is not pushing me over the edge. And I don't do that all the time. I'm not that extreme, but I will do that because certain things are a lot harder to measure and are easy to go overboard. Nuts, dried fruit. So some of the higher point items where you want every point to count, I think is a really good idea to measure. So now I'm going to get the other measuring cup and see how much that weighs. So here's my other measuring cup, 1/4 cup. I'm going to weigh it. Oh, and I get 28. Now, I actually say, I will admit, I enjoy and use these measuring cups more than anything. But for certain things where I have the ability to measure, when I'm doing recipes in particular, when I'm mixing a couple of different things, then I will definitely use my scale. So scale is one of the tools that I would absolutely recommend. The next tool is a water bottle. I highly recommend that everyone have a personal water container of some kind. I have a lot of them. I have tried a lot of them. I will tell you that my first rule is I prefer for it to be double-walled insulated. So something like this, while it's handy with this little flip lid on the top, I do not like because it will sweat. And the same goes for this one, this Rubbermaid container. I don't like something like this. This one is a double-walled insulated. It was actually recommended to me, a hydro flask, but I hate the lid and I hate the metallic feel in my hand. So my preferred double-walled insulated is a Tervis. This one says Texas A&M. Whoop, gig 'em. I have a large one and a small one. I think I even have some tinier ones. And I'll tell you why I prefer this larger one. I see people, and I don't knock them because obviously if they want to do that and carry around a large water container, that is up to them. But I have seen some really, really big water containers, and they're almost fighting with them in some ways to carry them around places. I currently work at home, but when I work in an office, I like a cup that can go in the car, which this one can because it's got the nice little indentation so it fits in my cup holder. And I like for it to be easy to carry. It sits on my desk, it's full of water, I get called to a meeting, I grab it. I can carry it around. Don't have this giant handled thing that I'm bashing people with. But it also holds sufficient amount of water. This one is a 16 ounce, whereas something like this, I believe, is, oh no, I'm sorry, this is a 16 ounce, this is a 24 ounce. 16 ounce, I can go through a 16 ounce glass of water in a couple of minutes. But a 24 ounce, I can usually keep up with for an hour and before I have to refill it, maybe an hour and a half. So that's my preference on that. Now, obviously, you can do whatever you want, whatever you want to do for water, but make sure you have a container that you will keep with you, that you will refill, that you will use, that you like, because as you can see, I've rejected tons of them. I still have them for whatever reason, but this is my preference, and it's the one that I find I use tons. I actually have 2 of these, and I would recommend that you get something that you can use all the time. My third tool for this particular video is not specifically this meal planning. I found this on the internet. It's called the Eat Sheet. You can certainly find it. But the tool is meal planning. I know that some people do not cook a lot. They don't like to plan it out more than a couple of days. You definitely have to find what works for you. And then I recommend that you write it down. And that's why I'm putting this tool out there as one that I highly recommend. So I'm really quite odd. I save all of my prior meal plans. I clip them together. I keep them in my file cabinet. And one of the things I will do is occasionally refer back to them. I will see some things that got made a lot that I haven't made in a while. I will, especially from a seasonal standpoint. So right now, in the last couple of weeks, I've gone back and looked at some things from last winter just to see what did we like, what did I make, what did we enjoy. So I do save them. My preference is I make my meal plan on Thursday and Friday for the following week, starting basically Saturday. I do my major grocery shopping on Saturday morning. And so one of the things I do is I figure out what I'm going to serve for dinner, and I will be specific because my husband eats dinner leftovers for lunch. I cobble together whatever I can for lunch, and then for breakfast, I send him off with a breakfast taco, and then I again cobble together. So dinner is really where it's more important for me to meal plan. If you feel the need, or you know that you will do better with a breakfast, lunch, and dinner meal plan, or a breakfast and dinner meal plan, then do that. Whatever works for you. So I go through all of my recipes, and I have a tool I'm going to talk about in the next video where I store my recipes, so I will talk more about that. But I go through my recipes, I decide what I'm going to make for the following week, And I make notes on my eat sheet, as I call it, about what I'm going to make and what the ingredients are that I know that I need. Off the top of my head, I know what's in my pantry. I typically know what's in my 2 freezers and my refrigerator. So I make notes of the things that I either know I need or I think I might need. Then I try to start plugging in when that's going to be served. I obviously haven't finished this particular week, and sometimes I don't get super specific, particularly around the holidays. But one of the things I do is for each calendar day, I make sure to include anything that may already be a special plan. So for example, Monday night we are scheduled to play games. We belong to a meetup group that, for a bunch of different activities, but we're going to play a board game, a dice game called Farkle, and it's at a restaurant. This helps me in 2 ways. First of all, I don't buy too much food. I don't overplan what I'm going to make. Second of all, I know ahead of time if we're going somewhere where I need to pre-plan my points. So once I get my meal plan together and my calendar together, I start pulling in what am I going to make on which particular day, keeping in mind this one is very light, but I will make notes about whether or not the kids are here that weekend, if there's a special activity going on where I have to go pick somebody up, if it's Christmas, we have plans to go to somebody's house. I incorporate all of that, and then I decide when I'm going to make everything. The other thing that really helps me out on this is that I can pre-plan not only what I'm going to make, but I know in advance how many points that's going to be. Again, this particular one is not filled out all the way, but I know how many points it's going to be. So I know going into dinner, when I wake up in the morning, I typically know dinner's going to cost me 11 points or 15 points or 20 points or 2 points or whatever it is. So I can plan my breakfast and my lunch appropriately. The other thing I can do is I can look at this the day before and figure out, do I need to defrost anything? Shrimp, for example. Or ground beef. I also know, because I have a house with a husband and 2 kids, that there are certain things I probably need to go back and check and make sure that ingredient has not dwindled down, that somebody hasn't eaten all of the sliced almonds that were supposed to go into a particular salad dish, for example. I just keep those kinds of things in mind. So the previous day, before I'm going to serve, for example, shepherd's pie, I will make sure that I still have good onion, carrot, and celery, because sometimes my celery disappears, that I've thawed out my ground beef, that I understand that everything that goes into this recipe, I have it ready and available. And then when I get ready to make dinner the next day, there are no surprises for me. So those are the 3 tools that I'm going to recommend in this video. The scale, which I think does wonders when it comes to making sure that all of your ingredients are not overmeasured or undermeasured. A personal water container of some kind, something that you are going to use, that you like to use, that you will carry around with you and actually drink water from, and a meal planning organizational tool of some kind, whether you do it on paper, whether you do it online, whether you do it for 3 meals a day and snacks or 1 meal a day, something that helps keep you organized and on track. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I would love to hear from you, so comment or email me directly if you have anything further that you would like to ask or want to know. Please subscribe to my future videos so you can see the rest of the tools coming up in the series, and I hope you have a great day.